Hey YouTube, new video. On this one, I wanted to show you a little bag full of tricks now that I have. So this is my new truck, and one thing I always love about the Tacoma, I had one in the past, is this little function of it, especially for preppers. So as you can see now, you know, it's useful. People can sit there's nothing hiding or showing and everything. But those trucks, what they have is they have a little compartment and you can access from the back. I'll do a video on what's on the other side, but today what I want to talk about is this little bag. As you can see, it stays in my truck all the time, and we'll see what it can do. But basically it's my communication bag. I have another one that comes in and out of the truck as I go with, but this time I want to talk about this one. So let's go back on inside and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so like I was mentioning, let's look what it's in the bag. I'll have a picture of everything that is content, but I'll go from items to items. It's still a work in project. I still have some function that I need to double check and trial, but concept wise, it gives me a lot of opportunity. So like I was saying, it's my communication module on my, I would call it my 1 week prep bag that always stays in the car. So if something happens and I have 1 week, and if I need to get out, then my bug out bag is already in the car. So for communication wise, obviously it's really important to sometimes get information as much as transmitting, but I would say like 80-20. So 80% of receiving information, knowing where to go and things like that, and then 20 to transmit. So this gives me a few options here. Before I continue, a few things I want to make sure that everybody understands is one, this gear is to be used by amateur radio, so you need to have your license, obviously, which I have. Here in Canada and in the States, it's a little bit different. Two, there is also some situation where I'm going to be using some of that gear in situation where there's basically a disaster. So either it's in an emergency, where like life over limb or things like that, or there's things that went down. So especially the radio that I'm using, sometime depending of where you buy them and things like that, they can be illegal to frown upon to illegal to use, because they sometimes go outside the what you're supposed to use them for. So the way I put the information in is keeping this in mind. But again, this is my kit, it's me to use. So then I'm aware of those limits. And like I said, again, it's the kit is for 80-20, so 80% of listening. So some of the way I enter my channels is for listening more than using. But in case of a dire situation, I may use them as well. So with this in mind and those little caveats, let's look where the kit is. So the first thing is the pouch itself. I forgot what I bought that, but there was another YouTuber I saw, like he did a kit and stuff, and it's very well done. It's very compact. There's kind of a main compartment with a few pockets and straps inside, and then there's kind of a smaller one with a kind of detachable, like you can put maps and things like that in there. For right now I have like piece of papers and stuff like that, and with some more webbings in the back there and another pocket. So it's a pretty nice little kit. So in there, where I have is the two rubber ducky that the radios comes with. I don't have it in this kit because it's in another kit right now, but I usually keep also a roll-up antenna, and I intend also to buy 2 more higher-end antenna for those radios so that they work better than those things. But again, it's not my main kit. This is dire situation kind of kit. I need to at least I have communication. So rubber ducky, even if they're not the greatest, it's better than nothing. I also have with the radios, there's like little headphones, like cheap headphones that they come with. So anyway, I put them over there. I got some paper pants, and also what I carry here is the nifty quick reference. So a lot of time with radios, you forget how it works and things like that. So what those are, and as you can see, they're very small. It's basically the main things like how to program a repeater or things like that. So if I ever forget, or if somebody else is using those radios, then I can give them that, and it gives them information by information. And it's very small, compact, so it's nice information to have and carry. But my radios are already pre-programmed, but there's still space to program other stuff. And over here I got batteries. So I got 2 regular batteries. So the radios have their own batteries right now, and those are 2 extras. And then I have a third one over here. This one is a special one that basically carry AA's batteries. You need 6. So for that, I have like those battery holders, and I have 8 in here because they carry 4 each, so I might as well carry 2 more. So I got 2, so I have basically enough battery here to supply with this. And obviously if I don't use this, then the batteries can be used separately. So that gives me different ways. So it gives me a lot of battery time. So I have the 2 batteries that are in the radios, the 2 extra batteries here. If that falls down for whatever reason or fail or something like that, then I have the radios with the regular batteries, AA's batteries. I didn't use regular charging batteries, and there's a reason for that. So yes, they can be recharged and they're great, but when you use this for radios, rechargeable batteries have a little bit of a lower voltage. So when you use the ones with that comes like regular batteries, they have a little bit higher voltage, and so basically the radio is a little bit more powerful. So, and because this kit stays in my car and stuff like that, I just have to change those and rotate them on a regular basis. So it makes a little bit more sense to do it that way. That's why I did it that way. So that's in the front pocket, and also there's more stuff that you can hold on the side. On the outside over here, I have one of those little solar crank radios for NOAA informations and flashlight at the same time, multi-purpose kind of radios. So I attach it outside. So again, if I need to listen to FM radios or like information, the NOAA, the weather, recharge. Also by the crank, you can recharge the battery with those things. There's a little ports on the outside, and basically you could recharge your phones and things like that over here. So that's attached outside. In the main pouch, I got 2 glow sticks. Those I think are like 8 hours or 12 hours. 8 hours, yeah. So I got basically 16 hours of light. They're very bright and they're white. So in case that I need like for whatever reason to either go somewhere or to be found or to set up the kit the way I want. So I had some extra, so I put it over there. So that's the main pocket. So then I'll go with the items from the picture that you'll see up here. So the main 2 radios that I went with are the Biofangs UV5Rs. That was a deal, so that's why I got 2, and they're blue, and so that's why I also identify that they're my emergency radio, so that not to mix with other radios, because again, they're programmed a certain way. And you'll see what I mean by the way they're programmed. And this is why also I was doing the little caveat that goes back. So Baofeng, there's a lot of controversy about them. So they can be used outside what you're supposed to be using them for. So you have to be careful when you use them, because they don't have, they're cheap. They don't have the filters that commercial radios have. So for example, if you buy a Yaesu or ICOM or other radios, if I try to transmit on something I'm not supposed to transmit on, it won't let you because there's filters inside. The Baofeng doesn't have them, but and it's kind of a double sword. That means you can use that at your advantage in the situation where the brown stuff has hit the fan or anything else, because now that means you can use more outside the norm of what it is, and it makes them cheap as well. So that's why I have those, because if my car gets stolen or breaking in or something, they found this, they're not $400 radios that are just left. They're just $100 total. I think the two of them cost me $100 or something like that. So that's a little bit less of a pain to take that as a hit, plus the extra. But again, you have to remember, I wouldn't use that, for example, as my main radio on amateur radio when I talk to other people and things like that, because of those limitation. I don't even know if they're certified for those ones. So I'll use it mostly to listen. And so that can be used for that, because anything you can listen very well, but you cannot transmit on that. Yeah, they're a lot of the radios you'll have, for example, like a little sticker like this, and if they're certified to be used in the States or things like that, there'll be a number in that spot. And if their number is not there, then technically they're not been certified to be used for that. So this is why. So those are my emergency radios, to be used mostly to listen. And in case of really limitation. So for what those radios have been programmed for, the main thing is to listen to all, and this is another radio that's in there, all the FMRS and family. So those are the bubble radios that everybody have, that you can find anywhere and stuff. So I can listen with those things. And so if that's the only thing I have, or I'm around in the place and there's no repeaters and things, at least I can scan for that. And that could become, like in a situation where there's riots or things, a lot of people may use those radios, then I could listen to that and be aware on my surrounding. The other advantage too is that now if I give this to someone, because I only have one in that pocket, because in my other kit I carry two, then that means I can also listen to, but it's a one-way communication, because I can hear them and stuff. The other thing that is, so I have this one very small. I have two in another kit, so because it came in a pack of 3, so I had an extra one, so I put it in that kit. So that means I can give this kit to someone, and basically it's alone on the shelf, so it gives me a lot of different options. The other good thing with the Baofeng is the accessories are very cheap. So the first accessory I bought, and there's this company now in the States that called Baofeng Tech. Basically, if you buy them from them, what they do is they buy those ones or something, and they modify them so that they are certified to be used in the States. And so they sell some accessories that goes with them. And so the first one that I bought was the USB charger. So that means that now I can charge those radios with a USB instead of the 12 volts or cigarette lighters and things like that. So that means it gives me more options, because now I can use a power bank to recharge the radios. So much easier to do that. So that was the first cable I got. So another way of recharging all the batteries that I have here. The second cable that I bought from them is to be able to do to use those radios as APRS. So APRS is basically you're transmitting a packet. It's a little bit like a beacons, and other radios around you can catch it, and then it goes onto a map, and it can be go on the website and stuff like that. The other advantage of that as well is that if you catch a repeater or other radios, is that you can transmit message as well. So basically it becomes a little bit like a cheap internet, but obviously you have to have structures and place that you can hold, which on the road. So because it's in my car, most of the thing could happen. I wouldn't mean that I'm always in the middle of nowhere and things like that. So with this cable, which is, as you can see, it doesn't take much. All I have to do is plug this cable on this, and either with my phone or a tablet, I could use apps that comes with this, and then that becomes an APRS module. That's one that I bought the cable. I didn't quite play with it and kind of listening and all the settings and stuff. So that's one thing, but it gives me the capacity of doing this technically in the kit. And the last option that this can be, so basically I got two, so that means one can have the other one. But also the reason I put two in there is that when you buy a little device like this, I can plug those two and it can become a repeater. So over here in Canada, if you want to be able to use a repeater, you need to have an advanced thing, but you can use a crossband repeater. And so that's how I set up those radios. So that means what I can do is plug this radio, and with that cables that basically connect those two radios here, I can receive it in one frequency and transmit on another frequencies. And this is why I bought a dry bag. And so basically I can put that on top of a tree, and then or somewhere in there, and then basically I have kind of my own repeater that I can set up. So that gives me an extension. So if I'm setting up camp or something like this, and I leave those two radios up in the tree, that means it extend, because it extend my ways of communication. Because when you talk from radios, it's always from antennas to antennas. But if those two antennas cannot see each other, if you put a third antenna over here, then this antenna can talk over there and stuff. And so what I did is that I programmed those two radios. They're pre-programmed with this kind of emergency thing. So there's repeaters that I set up and everything. So that means I would just put this quickly up there, set up the other radios to be able to talk, and then basically create like a cheap man repeater. So again, for a small kit, it gives me a lot of options. Like I said, it stays in my car constantly. And so it not too expensive, and yet a lot of capacity. So hopefully that was interesting, and I'll talk to you soon.